Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Television, Radio, and Podcast Talk Show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone as we get to talk with each other. It's always such a fun ride. You can find us on television, channel 182. That's up in North Alabama through Charter Communications. You can also find us on Abundance Television. We've been with them 4th year anniversary for that. Abundant Television is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com and the biggest country radio station in South Carolina, WZLA 92.9 on the dial. Make sure you check all them out. We're working on something else. I can't tell you about it yet. I know I'm seething. I want to tell you all about it, but it's going to be even a broader audience, and we definitely appreciate this happening. So I'll be next month. We'll be talking about it. But again, thank you so much for watching. Continue sending email. A lot of you did. We got over 50 something, probably more than that, email, because everybody knew that Chuck and Mary Lynn Bailey was going to be with us today. They were with Fair Tax, Alabama Fair Tax. And so, guys, welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Good afternoon.
I am so excited about hearing all these questions because that makes my day.
Yeah, makes it easier to talk about.
It really does.
Now, you got a lot of questions again about the prebate. And so start off with that, but you've got a lot more questions so that we're going to have to do this show today. So let's talk about prebate. What's it about?
Well, the prebate is the prepayment of your taxes up to the poverty level. So at the beginning of each month, depending on your family size, you'll receive what we call a prebate. It's a rebate in advance of all the taxes you would spend if you spent up to the poverty level. It doesn't matter how much money you make. If you apply for the prebate, and that's the only thing you have to do to get it is to apply once a year. So you get it every month. And so you pay no taxes up to the poverty level. That's what the prebate is. And it really doesn't matter what you spend it on. If you actually don't spend all of that money every month, put it in your savings account, you get to keep it and actually keep the interest on that money too.
Oh, wow.
So no taxes on that.
And then hidden in that explanation is the fact that what the fair tax does is it eliminates the IRS, it eliminates the income tax, and it enacts a single rate consumption tax on new products and services that you buy at retail. The retailer collects the tax for the government, and they get repaid for collecting that tax. But at any rate, all those forms and everything go away for the income tax system, and you really become free of all of that until you decide you want to buy something, and then when you buy it, you pay the tax then, and you're done with your taxes.
Mm-hmm. And the neat thing about this too is this is only for United States citizens, if I'm correct.
Right.
Actually, in Alabama, which is what we're trying to accomplish, it is for Alabama residents. So anyone passing through Alabama and spending money will actually pay the tax. Only Alabama residents can get the prebate.
We have another bill that was in committee in 2020. It's called the Alabama Economic Freedom Act. And it's a clone of the national fair tax, and it operates the same way. It has a prebate, and that's what Mary Lynn was talking about. If you're going to have a tax system, you've got to untax people on their necessities of life. That's just the way it goes. And Social Security is the most regressive tax there is, and that goes away because it's included in the fair tax, the national fair tax, because Social Security, Medicare, and all that's a federal program. And the Medicaid gets paid for in the state tax. So you get rid of all of the things that, instead of you having to pay for government before you pay for your family with the fair tax and the Alabama Economic Freedom Act, you pay for yourselves first, and then you pay the government to take care of it.
And one thing to keep in mind too is this is just revenue collection. It's just a different way to collect taxes. It has, instead of collecting, taxes at every, we have sales taxes, we have, all kinds of taxes. They're all lumped
hidden
into
taxes
one.
and everything you buy.
Yeah, and so it's also, it's a fair tax and a flat tax all in one. When Mo Brooks was the senator from our district, he used to say, he started out saying,
he was a congressman, but he'd love you calling him a senator.
I'm sorry, he ran for senate. He said, well, I'm for the fair tax or flat tax. I don't really care as long as we do something about the income tax. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that the fair tax is a fair tax. It's also it's a flat tax on spending.
And it's a single rate flat tax.
A single rate flat tax.
Well, it would take a change in the law to change the rate.
Right. So and actually, it's one way that you can actually know how much you're spending in taxes. The way with the income tax, you've got embedded taxes in everything you buy, you have no idea how much. And I don't know that it's possible to know how much you pay in taxes. With the fair tax, it's enumerated every time you purchase something. You know exactly how much you've paid in taxes.
Let's go ahead to the next question. This is a good one too. Would consumers end up paying more at the cash register?
Not necessarily.
Well, actually, I would say they would pay less because of the embedded taxes that are currently in the cost of at every level of production. You're paying 23 to 25%, actually 16 to 28% embedded taxes. That can be removed, and that will be removed by competition. So and plus you get all of your money in your paycheck. You take it home with you, and you determine when you're going to pay taxes.
Look at it this way: at the federal level, immediately upon being enacted, your paycheck goes up it goes up at least 15%, because that's what Social Security and Medicare are. And then, depending on the so-called bracket that you're in, that could be anywhere up to 30, 45, 50% increase in paycheck, because that's depending on your bracket, depends on how much money you're not going to be paying in income tax. So all that money is available to you to spend. Mm-hmm. And then when you spend it, your prebate covers you up to the poverty level. So that means that your effective tax doesn't even hit the tax rate until you start spending money over the poverty level. This thing is a win-win-win-win-win.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see anything but a win. Y'all been an advocate for over a decade now. Let's talk about this one. What impact could this have on jobs and manufacturing in the United States?
That would be wonderful.
Good example. Not even a good example to follow, but you do see what's happening with the increase in tariffs by the president. Mm-hmm. All kinds of people are drumming into the United States to not have to pay that tariff. They're building stuff all over the U.S. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine, with all taxes gone on products and services in the U.S.? Unless you buy something new, with all that money being kept in the United States, mm-hmm. people got to go somewhere to do their manufacturing.
Well, it's an incentive to manufacturers, because there are no corporate income taxes. Right. There are no income taxes, so there's no corporate income tax, which means that they can come here, make their products cheaper, sell them cheaper, and put Americans to work. And actually, to be honest, I'd love to see the fair tax throughout the world. I think the people deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
The other side of the story is, everything that's imported to the United States has a tax on it, and it's and typically they have 162 nations, or some odd number of nations like that, have a VAT, and they typically remove that VAT from the products they ship. So that unequals the playing field for us, and we have to ship our products with all that Social Security and Medicare and all that stuff priced into the good, because there's no mechanism to remove that from a U.S. product going abroad. So this is going to even the playing field, because everything that's exported will not have the tax in it, mm-hmm. because there's no corporate tax, there's no business to business tax to build that product. Mm-hmm. where that tax gets collected is at the retail sales in the U.S. or customs when it ships out of the country. It does get charged when it gets shipped out of the country, so that makes it even for us.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. Here's a good question for you right here. Some people say that a national sales tax could hurt lower income Americans. How do you respond to that?
Absolutely not. That's a lie. I want to emphasize that because of the prebate.
Yeah, well, because of the prebate, you're not paying any tax up to the poverty level. But not only that, the taxes that are included in the embedded taxes that are included in the things that you buy, plus in the sales taxes and so on, those are removed. So it like I said, by virtue of competition, that's going to go the rate. Right. The cost of things are going to go down. I don't know.
A family of four can spend over $40,000, and their effective tax would be 11.5%.
All right,
that's it. They wouldn't have income tax. They wouldn't have all that other garbage to worry about. Because think about it, if you take a person that's in the 10% tax bracket, they think, oh, I'm only paying 10%, but actually you're paying about 130%, believe it or not. Just by the way that the system works in the income tax system, you don't pay tax on your gross, you pay tax on your net.
Mm-hmm.
And then the tax is not 100%. So you just do a lot better under the fair tax. That's the thing is, when most of the people that come out with that kind of statement is they're getting their money off somehow or other. They're making money off the income tax system, doing work for somebody to keep their taxes low.
Well, the thing is, your income is taxed before you ever get it. Mm-hmm. So you're spending already taxed money, and then you're taxed again at the register.
Right.
So, and then plus your tax.
Put it this way: that person at 10% would have to actually earn $121 to pay to have $100 to spend at the mm-hmm. That would be so-called kind of tax-free, because the tax would be that $21.
Absolutely, guys. Can you believe half the show is over? Let's go. We're going to pay for this, so let's go into a break. We'll be right back. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. Finding the right home isn't just about bedrooms and square footage. It's about comfort, security, and the feeling you get the moment you walk through the door. That's why so many families across Greenwood and the Lakelands area trust Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams. And I'll tell you from personal experience, Jenny was my realtor, and she truly cares about her clients. Jenny takes the time to listen, to understand what matters most, and to guide you every step of the way, whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, or ready to sell. Because this isn't just a transaction, it's your life. With local knowledge, personal care, and a commitment to getting it right, Jenny Ferguson makes the process simple and even enjoyable. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, now's the time to make your move. Call Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams in Greenwood today and take the next step toward a place you'll truly love coming home to.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Good afternoon, Sunshine. Medical Minute brought to you by Dr. Chuck with Lakeland's Chiropractic, where an ounce of prevention is worth what? A pound of cure. So what is the Beamer? Okay, now the Beamer uses very gentle pulse to electromagnetic signals. This will stimulate healthy muscles and it supports the temporary blood flow. Now let's talk Beamer and circulation support. Now the Beamer gently supports natural circulation in healthy muscles. Now that's what I call natural health. Thank you so much for watching your Medical Minute, brought to you by Dr. Chuck. You know who he's with. He's with Lakeland's Chiropractic, where an ounce of prevention is worth what? A pound of cure. I hope you have a super duper awesome rest of the afternoon. You take care.
I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of My Pillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all My Pillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. Or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free.
We are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television, radio, and podcast talk show. Thank you so much for the email. We definitely appreciate that. Send your email to donna@donnasedge.com, donna@donnasedge.com. And Chuck and Mary Lynn prefer you do it that way because they don't want anything rehearsed. So send.
Absolutely.
We never not answered a question. So here's a good one for you right here. And someone else put a similar question, but we'll go with this one right here. What would prevent the government from adding income taxes back later?
There's a provision in the bill that says within 7 years, you have to repeal the 16th Amendment, which controls it, which says we can have an income tax.
Mm-hmm.
And if after 7 years it hasn't been repealed, they're given a 6-month buffer, and then they have to go to some tax system, what are they going to use?
The 16th Amendment is what he's talking about. It has to be repealed.
It's got to be repealed.
And at the state level, and actually at the federal level too, it's destroyed or it's eliminated in the first year. After you have reconciled your taxes for the previous year, it goes away. There's no structure there anymore. So it would have to be restructured in order to do it. And it would take, I can't imagine that the American people would allow it.
If it had been on the fair tax, I don't think they'd ever go back.
Yeah. And the same goes for raising the tax, because with the fair tax, you know what the tax is. Mm-hmm. And if they raise it, you're going to know who wants to raise your taxes and how much. And then you're not going to be able to say, we're going to raise the tax of the man behind the tree, because everybody's behind the tree with the fair tax. It's a universal, it's a flat tax on spending.
No, everybody's in front of the tree. They have to pay up.
Well, I'm just,
they have to pay up.
Okay, either way, it works both ways.
Imagine this. Okay, so folks, let's think about it in a world where we are in fair tax. Okay, and one jerky politician wants to add tax onto that. What do you think is going to happen to that person's career?
Well, it's like the old saying, every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the world is going to know that tax has been raised, because it has to be printed on the receipt that they have. That's requirement by the law. The law says if you have a product on the shelf there that says it's $1, well, you know that the tax is within that $1. But it's going to be laid out line by line on your receipt that says, here's the tax, here's how much you paid in tax, and move along. We got to sell something to the next guy. And everybody that's wants to make sure that they're not overtaxed, they're going to look at that receipt and make sure that that's what comes out, because if they don't do it that way, or if they look and say, wait a minute, this rate's gone up. Well, then next guy's going to know, and the next guy's going to know. Pretty soon, everybody in the United States is going to know that rate went up.
I think if the tax went up, people would know. It wouldn't be. It'd be very difficult to hide that. But I do have to say.
But now to go back to the real quick, to go back to the embedded taxes, there ain't no way you know how much tax you're paying in products and services you even know. Because if she said 16 to 28, well then which one's got 16 in it? Which products got 28? Which one's got 15 or whatever?
Well, you can know that because it's level of production. So the things that have less, like leather goods, for instance, they go through fewer.
But you got leather goods and other stuff.
Right.
So,
but so
there's no way to tell what you've got.
But as far as I look back now. We've lived a long time, and I think that there's an amnesia that comes along after a certain period of time. That it's possible that people could come along and say at some point, and I can't even imagine why, but I do know that the founding fathers did not like income taxes were not possible until 1913. And there had to be an amendment to the Constitution in order to have an income tax. Mm-hmm. So,
as a matter of fact, Lincoln instituted an income tax in 1860 something or other. And it lasted a couple of years until the courts ruled it unconstitutional. Mm-hmm. So, that's the reason why we got the 16th Amendment.
So we can't predict what's going to happen in future generations, but hopefully the people who have lived through the fair tax understand, just like people who've lived through communism understand it's not a good thing. Right. So, I think that if we get rid of it, we'll be good for a while. And the secret is to have an educated society. And right now we don't. We have a propagandized society. And, if you go to public schools, you're going to propaganda centers. And, that's
just the way it is.
Yeah. So you have to, so there's no guarantee, but you have to be vigilant.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, my son and daughter-in-law were here over the weekend, for quite a few days, and most of her discussions were about how people are just plain idiots who don't understand what it's like to live in a communist country, because she is from Russia, and she can tell you some hair-raising stories. Yeah. These people don't know what they are talking about.
Right.
Who go to college and their brain gets filtered. Oh yeah, it's going to be a good thing, and all. She said it is not, because I lived in it. It is not a good thing.
Well, it's happening in front of us in New York City. In California, people are fleeing those.
Minnesota.
Not Minnesota. Well, Minnesota's got a different problem.
Yeah, but it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but here's the point. In New York, the jerk said what he was going to do. Yeah. He told everyone what he was going to do. So why should they be surprised? They need to be made to stay there because they voted for him.
Do you remember there was a movie that I can't think of his name? He was married. He's Goldie Hawn's second, the other half.
From New York.
Escape from New York. That I'm kind of wondering if that's not, that wasn't prescient.
It saw it was going to happen. And recorded it a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Somebody knew, like the movie Idiocy.
Oh, Idiocracy.
That's a perfect example of what's going on now.
Every American needs to watch Idiocracy.
Foul language like crazy.
Well, and you have to watch it. There are levels of in Idiocracy, but if you just see the theme of it, it is.
You can just almost see the U.S. government in action in this stupid movie.
Yeah,
it's where you're. Yeah, I won't even go there. Because that'll be like a 5-hour show if we just talk about that movie.
I know.
We'll talk about fair tax. Yeah. Okay, this is a good one right here. So let me go back down here. I skipped over a couple. Let's see, because a lot of them are kind of the same. Okay, and you talked about this one, but let's go into a little bit more detail. This person here says, "Howdy from Texas. How can you give us a practical example of how a paycheck would look like under fair tax?"
It would not have taxes on it. You would have you get your 401k if that's still going on. You got your whatever insurance you buy through the company, all those things will be on there, but that's your money.
Yeah.
It's not the
And it's
government's money.
voluntary too. It's not something that
It won't
you
be on
get
your
what
check.
you get. No,
Remember,
no choice.
the businesses don't have to, the corporations, the businesses, no one has to collect income tax anymore. That goes away. So that frees up, for instance, I know the Boeing company had a whole floor in one of those high rises in Chicago, and all they had there were tax people. And on one side, they had government people to keep the tax people honest. And that's going to go away.
And that's a cost. There's a cost to that, which means a lot
of money to do that.
Exactly. The game show winners, there's a tax person that's at game
there.
shows, and as soon as you win something, they control how much of it you get.
I would like to know how many people walk away saying I can't pay.
Well, that actually happened on Oprah Winfrey. Used to give away all cars and all kinds of stuff, and there were people who couldn't afford to take the gift because of the income tax. And what is that? The giveaway, the home giveaway that they
HGTV.
Yeah, HGTV. Yeah, until just recently, and they started. I think they give you enough money to pay the taxes, but that just happened after people could not live in the house that they won. Yeah.
Nobody, or they would try to sell it and they couldn't sell it. So yeah, I mean, I've looked into that. So here's what you can either take the house, you've got to pay the taxes, or you're dumped out of it. Or you could accept money, and it's way less than the value of the house is. So too many people were doing that. So another thing they've done is they used to, let's say the house was worth 1.5 million. Well, then you could have like 800,000 instead of taking the whatever 1.5 house. Now they've went down on that. So it's not even that anymore. I think it's like $600,000, which is still a winning, but more people are having to do that. Now here's a good question. We've got about 3 minutes left in this segment.
Okay.
Are there other countries using anything similar to fair tax that you know?
As far as taxing goes, but I would have to say that it's like the Cayman Islands, where you actually you can save money. You can it's your money, and when you spend it,
they get their taxes probably through the people visiting their island and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know their tax structure, but I'm just saying that it would.
They don't have an income tax.
They don't have an income tax. Yeah,
we know that.
And unfortunately, in the states here, Texas and Florida and Tennessee,
they're the closest.
They're very close, and that's where people are moving. Mm-hmm. But they have high real estate taxes, the home, the property taxes, and that's another thing.
Florida still has a corporate tax of some sort, but the thing about it is, none of them have the prebate. That's the key to this whole thing, I believe, because the most regressive tax is a sales tax. Consumption tax is a sales tax on what you consume. So you got to get rid of the taxes up to the poverty level on stuff that you buy in order to make it really.
You said the regressive tax is the income tax. It's not the sales tax.
No, the income tax is regressive. The Social Security and Medicare are regressive. So you got to get rid of that. And what we do is we get rid of it on all of it at the state. We're using the fair tax. Yeah,
and as far as the money you take home from your paycheck, just take FICA out of there. Add that to what you're actually taking home right now. That's what you get.
Absolutely, guys. We're going to go. Thank you so much for being on the show. We're going to keep the questions. There are more.
Okay, those are good.
Next time you guys come around, I'll see if I can copy and paste them and send it. No, I'm not going to do that. Y'all don't.
No, this needs to be off the cuff.
I don't know. I think maybe we'd do better.
Not necessarily.
But thank y'all so much for watching, and thank you guys for being with us, and thank you for everything that you do, Chuck and Mary Lynn Bailey. It's worth something. I want it to happen. I really do. And I thank you for sending email. Go ahead, send more. We'll take them. Donna at donnasedge.com. Donna at donnasedge.com. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks, Donna.